I am the Lord your God. Pay attention to what I say.
See the same people every other day, but we never say hey, cause we're never looking the way, or my face was in my notebook. We passed each other, didn't look. But these are the people of the towns, of the towns, the towns, of the towns. And large cities are just a bunch of big small towns, big small towns, overlapping side by side, big small towns. I see new people every day. Everyone's on their way, doing the things that failed their day. And I'm going places too, doing the things that I do with my time. We are the people of the towns, of the towns, the towns, of the towns. And large cities are just a bunch of big small towns, big small towns, diagonal, top to bottom, big small towns. Be nice to the people of the towns. Once in a while look around, cause what's going around's coming around. What came around's coming around. What's going around's coming around. Big, 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 small towns. Word gets around in the big small towns. Big, 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 small towns. Word gets around in the big small towns. Big, 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 small towns. Word gets around the big small towns.
Hey everybody, welcome to Downballot. We do this show live most Tuesdays at 7:30 p.m. Pacific right here on Twitch. That's twitch.tv/Echoplex Media. Also simulcasting to some places. Other places we can't really simulcast to until Saturday because oopsie. You can support this project by going to echoplexmedia.com. Click the support link at the top of the page. Find your favorite way to do it. I don't know, buy some merch. We haven't sold a whole lot of merch this month, so it'd be nice if you, I don't know, picked up some merch or don't. I don't care. Whatever. I'm Producer Dave, and you can find me on Grindr until Elon Musk purchases it and ruins it.
Speaking of which, this is the Councilman. I think you can still find me on Twitter, although I'm not really there anymore all that much. Ever since all my promotions and alerts seem to be Elon Musk tweets. I don't really understand, bro. How can you have millions of followers, you own the platform, and yet you need everyone to see every one of your tweets? Ego much? So in the meantime, you can find me in the Echoplex chat. That's probably the best place to find me and harass me. Look for me up in the Bay Area news feed. I love seeing your links in there, everyone. And it gives me a reason to check the chat if you hit me up there. So please do that. And I'm going to slowly but surely whittle myself off of the X device.
Get yourself on the Blue Sky. We have a whole starter pack there so that you can join it, follow me, and then follow everyone who follows this show who also has to be in the starter pack.
It will give me a reason to try Blue Sky. Yeah,
and it's nice over there. It's like Shitlib City. I mean, you'll be right at home.
Fantastic. Maybe I'll get do they allow all ages? Can I get the Bad Baby in account?
I would suggest against it. Obviously, you could do a parody account of the Bad Baby. I wouldn't put any pictures of your kid up on the fucking internet, but you guys know that.
No, we definitely know that much. I mean, the only time she appears really is on this pod or this stream, and honestly, who watches this shit anyway? Just kidding. But yeah, no, we're always very careful, and it would definitely be a parody account. She actually has her own, not parody, but her own Instagram account for when she's, ready for it. We just wanted to make sure we held the handle Bad Baby. Well, Bad Baby 69, I guess.
You should have done Bad Baby 42069. It would have been based.
Oh, there you go. We'll see. I actually have to check out the Bad Baby. I'm sure there's a million Bad Babies, but maybe if Bad Baby 420 is available, shit, I'm hopping on that. Anyway. No, well, good to see you, Producer Dave, as always, and it's great to be here with everyone. Listener, viewer, thank you for joining the 9th best local news podcast stream in all of California, according to some dude.
I bet of the people that ate before us, I bet none of them are on Twitch.
That's probably true, although I'll check with the California report. I'll ask Guy and Marissa, my good friends, to see if they're on Twitch. They might be. They're pretty savvy. They're young-ish. Younger than me and us. Say. Should we interview the California report? Dude, that would be so meta. Number 8 interviewed by number 9. We might it would be weird. Would we boost ourselves above them just by interviewing them? Would it behoove them to not come on our show? it could either hurt their careers or hurt their careers. It's like that one time you tried to run for office. Oopsie, you would have won otherwise. And you came on here and talked about soaking and. Let's not talk about that. I heard about it the next day too. As soon as I got on the doors, oh, you're the Netflix and soak guy. Not voting for you, bro. No, I need a clean, safe city. I can't have you running my city. And then I just whipped out the bong and said, well, if that's the way we feel about things. All right. So what do we got leading off? I'm going to have some thoughts after this for sure. But what do we got for leading off here? Well, I just figured we'd talk about eggs so much that it looks like the egg shortage being what it is because of bird flu or whatever reasons, Donald Trump, Joe Biden, folks are taking matters into their own hands, and some local entrepreneurs here in the South Bay are getting down with their own egg cultivation. So we're going to find out more. And good luck finding eggs. Still, no end in sight for that shortage. And when you do find eggs, expect to pay up. The culprit, as you know, the ongoing bird flu pandemic. And that has some egg lovers trying a different strategy, hatching their own of sorts. NBC Mary's Damien Trujillo is in San Jose to tell us more. Even those who have their small chicken farms say they worry about the avian flu, but this might be becoming a new trend in the Bay Area. The Barrett family consider themselves somewhat lucky. They get their own bounty of eggs every morning. Every type of chicken will do a different type of colored eggs, from dark chocolate to light brown to green or blue. Yes, green and blue eggs. This basket at the store would likely cost the family around $15. That's based on the price we found for 18 eggs at this Safeway store, which is also rationing the product. The CDC reports that more than 1 million birds have been killed by the avian flu, including chickens and chicks. And chicks is what Ray Kitty came to buy at Ganado Feed in Willow Glen. We inherited a chicken house from some friends of ours, and we've repaired it, and we're going to be getting chicks at some point. Today, all he found was chick feed. Ganado expects the chicks to arrive from the Central Valley on Friday. The holding cages are ready, but it won't take long for them to sell. Chick season is pretty busy, but I guess with everything in the news this year might be a little busier, probably with all the people who want to start
thinking that like they're gonna get a lot of eggs with the shortage.
200 to 300 chicks will arrive at ganado as newborns. A day later, they'll be in someone's backyard, perhaps someone scrambling to beat the egg shortage. Damian Trujillo, NBC Bay Area News.
So people who can totally afford eggs because they have enough property, have a fucking chicken farm in their backyard in San Jose, are complaining about the price of eggs and going to buy chickens.
Faux show. Although I'm sure ganado serves a broader clientele than just those couple folks. But yeah, I appreciate especially the just wall to wall puns in that segment. Let's think of how many egg puns we can squeeze into it.
They weren't even good.
I know they're just it was dreadful, but I do appreciate the effort, honestly. Good on you if you've got the space for it. Although I will point out that there are neighborhoods in this city in San Jose that are where you would say that chicken coops and hens and roosters are prevalent. Like a lot of people already raise them in their backyards. And are already doing this, and they're probably doing okay by themselves. They're probably the folks that can't afford $13.99 for a dozen eggs, right? So they're probably already leaning on the home network, the neighborhood network, to source their eggs. And honestly, if there's someone out there on the east side, especially, who's got a nice roost, right, and can crank out some eggs, they could be doing some serious side hustle if they really wanted to right now. It's the time and the season, so consider getting your game on. Because I remember when I used to have to buy my cannabis on the Wild West market. I can imagine what the eggs would go for in this kind of environment. So, get them laced up.
I think this is like, I'm kind of sick of hearing about the eggs, and the reason being, I'm not going to buy my eggs at Safeway. I think Safeway is just price gouging the fucking eggs, if I'm being perfectly honest.
I wouldn't doubt. Yeah.
The neighborhood market, where everything's usually overpriced, the eggs are like $5 a dozen. I'm sorry, like, I don't know what to tell you. Like, if a place called Farmer Joe's that has like 9 different kinds of artisan fucking granola that you can get, like, you scoop it out and you pay by the pound for the locally sourced artisan fucking granola.
Dark chocolate, hazelnut, mocha, fennel seed.
There's no rationing. There's plenty of eggs. Like I'm down to like a couple eggs, and I'm out of mayonnaise. I don't buy mayonnaise anymore. I make my own mayonnaise because it's better. I am not worried that I'm going to ride just around the way to Farmer Joe's and find either no eggs or way overpriced eggs.
Yeah, I mean, if just poke around, it's I'm 100% convinced that this is entirely an inflation, a human-made inflation, right? A commerce-made inflation. So yeah, shop around. I've found you don't have to pay $13.99 for a dozen eggs. I've certainly, even at the very same Safeway, I don't understand why they are highlighting the high prices when at the very same Safeway there's a $6.99 dozen of eggs, and that's not the best price in the world, but still it's a hell of a lot better than paying over $1 per egg. So even in the same store you're shopping in, you can find a deal. You can always find a deal, not just for eggs. For anything you're missing, you can find a substitute. You can find a better bargain. So just look around. Don't be so hooked on the thing you get every time. Don't just look for the thing you get every time, like the label, the color, the location in the store. Right? Move your eyes around and take a chance. Don't feel the need to make sure everything has a 5-star review on Yelp either. Right? Sometimes you'll find something that's not on Yelp at all.
A friend of mine was saying too, and this makes a little bit of sense. Like, if your neighborhood market's generally a little more expensive, they're probably less inclined to gouge you on the eggs because that'll just piss you off, and now you're not going to go there anymore.
Yeah, and they need you more than anyone. Like Safeway can afford to gouge you because you're probably, if you're going to Safeway, you're probably pretty locked into the Safeway agenda. I can speak to that. Or if you suddenly go to whatever Albertsons or whatever the alternative is these days. Whole Fizzy, right? Amazon. It's fine. Like, it's just the cost of doing business, right? Same thing for Amazon. If you go to Safeway, one of your trips, it's fine by them. But yeah, the local convenience store, the Zanottos, the family markets, right? The Lenardi's is even, they do rely on regular business. So they're definitely going to not try and fuck you over.
They may even take a little hit on the eggs, actually.
Sure. Sure. To make things even out, right? They can probably I don't know what they call that, massage those costs in other places, right? And find a way to make it up in other areas. Shop your local family market.
I'm lucky in that the Safeway is right across the way from a Farmer Joe's, so I just buy like anything non-perishable. I buy at the Safeway, and then I go buy all my perishables at the Farmer Joe's because it's better quality stuff. And to the extent that it is a little bit, sometimes like the milk is a little more expensive. Well, the milk fucking lasts longer because it's been on the shelf there for less time, right. And like. I don't use a lot of milk. Like I use it in the fucking scoop of granola that I bought. What are you talking about?
Don't forget the chocolate hazelnut fennel seed. But yeah, that in your you and we are, because we're walking distance from multiple supermarkets, including the local like family joint and the Safeway. So we're the lucky ones. There are food deserts out there where like the best option you have for walking to get food is the convenience store. It's like 7-Eleven or the liquor store. And
I wonder if I know my local convenience store sells food. I bet they have a fucking pretty good price on eggs if they have them too, because again, they rely on your business.
It's true. If they have eggs, and hopefully they're fresh, if they have them. But they're the type of place that has like the one banana that's been there for a while, right? Fruit.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Oakland's a bit of a different place. There's a lot of corner markets, and most of them have like a produce section. It's not like a typical liquor store like you might find in the South Bay or whatever. Yeah, a little bit of a different vibe. A
little more of a bodega style.
Yeah, a little more bodega style. Anyway, friends, shop around for your eggs, and in the end, if you end up paying like 75 cents an egg, it's fine, baby. It's fine. I know times are tough. But just you can offset this by buying a bunch of cheap oil and making your own mayonnaise. And they've been gouging you on the mayo for like fucking 4 years now. Mayo doubled during the pandemic for no apparent reason. So just make your own goddamn mayonnaise and just fucking accept that it's washed out and now you have better mayonnaise.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, do you think that the Vietnamese, market down the street that makes your banh mi, they're making their own mayonnaise? They ain't buying Best Foods or bulk mayonnaise. They're making their own, and it tastes delicious. All right,
they just call it aioli and raise the price of their banh mi by 25 cents, and it's still the best deal in town.
Oh yeah, but very much. It's $2.75 for a banh mi is still a great deal. Although R.I.P. Decau, R.I.P. Decau. I saw you were gone. And Bowtown.
Ooh, there's a couple things no Indian market nearby. I got to go all the way up to Berkeley to a big one, and no good banh mi shop in my neighborhood. I don't have to go far, but I mean the neighborhood should have a banh mi shop.
Well, I mean you would imagine so. Well, let's get it going. Lobby the Vietnamese Business Association.
No, I do not.
All right.
I do not want to cross the Vietnamese Business Association.
You don't want to cross them. Just lobby them. You don't want to cross them. Lobby them. Hey, man, or even ask. Where would you recommend? Where do I go for a good banh mi? They'll know. They'll tell you too. They're very proud about it.
Or you should loan me money to start a banh mi shop that I don't even have to show up to. I'll just take the $4 profit they make every day off the top. They can't be raking in the dough off those fucking $4 sandwiches, friend.
Mr. Bun Me, Mr. Boo-How Bun Me.
Anyway, let's move on here. Let's move on to Down Ballot Watch. It looks like we only have 2 stories here. One of them's a follow-up from last week.
Yeah, we're going to get a little more on Fremont's attempt to criminalize homelessness and the people that help the people who are homeless. And they actually passed the ordinance that they were threatening to pass, and we're seeing some instant fallout and a little more detail about what it could mean for the community.
The lengthy line of people just waiting to get inside of the Fremont City Council meeting Tuesday night, fired up over a proposed homeless camping ban.
Like many others, I have felt unsafe and experienced dangerous situations while going to my grocery store and local ATM.
This is not.
Ma'am, no, you haven't. You live in Fremont.
Solution. We have no solution with this. All we are doing is moving them around.
After 5 hours of public comment, questions, and deliberations, the council voted to make it illegal to camp anywhere on public property.
So now here in Fremont, we have the most restrictive camping ban in the state.
Vivian Wan is CEO of Abode Services, a homeless and housing services agency. She's concerned because the ordinance still includes a clause prohibiting anyone from aiding or abetting a homeless encampment.
honestly, sometimes we do hand out tents when it's raining. And again, health and safety, there's not shelter beds, there's not anywhere else to go.
She says there are 111 shelter beds in Fremont year-round, but as of the last count, about 800 people are living outside.
So we'll be working over the next several weeks with our attorneys and the city attorney to make sure that what we do every day with the people we serve continues to be considered lawful.
The first reading, I voted no. And did a lot of research, met with a lot of people, visited a lot of places.
Councilmember Kathy Kimberlin had a change of heart after her first no vote back in December.
Tents would be okay, sleeping bags okay, things that sustain people's lives is fine. What's not fine is building tree houses near waterways, building structures out of cardboard and plywood that could be a fire hazard.
And Councilmember Kimberlin claims there will not be homeless sweeps as a result of this ordinance, but any violations may come with up to a $1,000 fine, a misdemeanor, and up to 6 months in jail. This will take effect in 30 days. Live in Fremont, Lena Howland, ABC 7 News.
There won't be any homeless sweeps, but also we're going to throw you in jail.
Right, and we're going to have this ordinance in the first place. So what was the point? Well, the point, more likely, if it's not for sweeps, means that it's going to be a complaint-driven process, and they're doing this to appease, people.
The first lady, right? That we saw.
Neighbors. Yeah, correct. And so folks will basically have to complain, say, oh, there's people camping on my street or over here or over there, or they're going 311 or whatever they're going to, whatever portal they're going to assign to it. And people, it would be just like, illegal dumping or graffiti or, weed abatement or missing shopping cart. Oh, homeless person camping on my street, right? And then they'll come out and push them aside. So yeah, that'd be the same as sweeping, just not as proactive maybe. But regardless, what else is the point of having an ordinance like this but to, further push folks to the margins? And by the way, we've covered this before on Downballot. It's not as though it's legal to camp on the sidewalk, right? Or in any public space or like a public park or really anywhere. You're not allowed to camp or keep your car overnight at most places, except for sanctioned places in urban areas, at least in cities, where you can camp and where you can keep your RV or park your car safely overnight. And that's the problem, is that San Jose, particularly, and other places do not, and Fremont, areas that are instituting these no encampment zones, right? They have nowhere to send people. So they're just saying you can't, you don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. And they just move a couple blocks over, neighborhood over, city over, and, it's just moving on down the road. And they just, we repeat the same process, wash, rinse, repeat over and over again, and we expect a different result. We're not getting any because we're not actually taking it. We're not taking a serious approach to solving the problem. We're just getting it out of the way. And now we're trying to, and then we're inadvertently, it looks like, but still trying to criminalize and harm and enforce regulations on people who are just trying to help a problem that we created. So there you go. Yay,
it's always boggled my mind that I can't just go fucking throw up a tent and spend the night in a public park. What the fuck what if I want to go take a fuck, what if I want to go fucking, I don't know, what if there's a party at my neighbor's place or something and it gets hella loud and I'm just like, fuck it, I want to go sleep at the park where it's fucking quiet.
Well, I mean, you pay for it, right? We're all paying for it. It's public spaces. So you would think, and even within but that's the thing, even within the public realm, we restrict the public realm, right? When I say we, I mean government writ large. We restrict the public realm by saying, oh, you can camp in these parks, right? State parks or campgrounds, right? KOA campgrounds,
recreationally only.
Right. But you cannot just throw up a tent here because you need someplace to fucking live or crash, right? Because you have nowhere else to go. And it's safer putting up it should be safer and cleaner to put up a tent in a public park than to just camp on a sidewalk or just curl up somewhere under a freeway, right? That makes a lot of common sense. I'm borrowing from Mayor Ed 209's campaign rhetoric. Common sense. It just seems to be the last way we want to approach things. The first step is to get them off the streets.
Seems like to go camping legally, you need to prove that you don't need to be camping.
Right? Isn't that interesting? How the legal camp, and that's another thing. It's there's an access problem, right? With legitimate quote unquote camping, right? Like the last time the good wife and I went camping, I want to say we had to pay reservations of not a little, not a ton of money, but $100, $200 to reserve a few nights in a state park where we already paid taxes, right? What kind of cost recovery model do they need, right? So yeah, it seems as though everything about this and everything about our public spaces right now is completely back-asswards, and we need to do a better job of managing the spaces that we have, because the one thing that's hardest to acquire in this whole business, if we're trying to house people, whether it's in congregate shelters or safe parking sites or sanctioned encampment zones, right, or encampment spaces, the one thing that's the hardest to find and most costly is land. Land acquisition is the hardest part of this whole process. If the government owns the land, you can get things built a lot easier. It's the land that costs the money and takes the time to acquire. So, and there's just scarcity of it. So yes, I agree with you. The more we can leverage our parks and our schools and all these other public realm.
People would freak out if you did safe. Even like if you had to be out by 6 a.m. and school doesn't start till 8. They would freak out if you tried to do a school parking lot.
Yeah, no, I would agree there. I would say the best use there is to find ways to build affordable housing, like permanent housing on school ground, on school land. In fact, in San Jose, the school district here, the Unified School District is the single largest landowner as far as square footage in the entire city. So they have more land at their disposal than anyone else, and they have a lot of unused land. So they are looking, to be fair, they are looking at how they can use it for housing. But I think more again, proactive approach would be really nice from government. Okay.
Well, Mayor Ed 209 went to the Super Bowl. I bet he did not like, nor did he understand the Kendrick Lamar performance, just based upon vibes.
I'm guessing he might have just been checked out of that performance entirely and was getting like a churro or a Polish sausage or something during halftime. So this story, the headline here says San Jose mayor preps for Super Bowl 60 World Cup with New Orleans visit. This is fucking what a huge mistake. Having the Super Bowl like in your fucking metro area, just don't do it. It's almost as bad as the Olympics. I guess the one saving grace here for Mayor Ed 209 in San Jose is that it's not San Jose bringing this upon themselves. Santa Clara and Levi Stadium are bringing it upon themselves. So San Jose is pretty much just trying to ride coattails and recoup any potential benefits they can without necessarily having to, host and do all the hosting duties, although they are trying to do a little bit and, have the team stay here and do some activities here. So anyway, long story short, Mayor Ed 209 went on a little sightseeing mission to New Orleans on hopefully not the public dollar to learn more about how San Jose can embrace the major events that are coming to Santa Clara next year.
With the Super Bowl just hours away, San Jose Mayor Matt Mahan is in New Orleans. He's taking notes on how the South Bay can make the most of next year when it hosts both the Super Bowl and the World Cup at Levi Stadium. Cron Force Jack Mulmed caught up with the mayor as this time next year, all eyes will be on Santa Clara County.
While the city of New Orleans prepares for the big game, San Jose Mayor Matt Mahan is also in the city, already thinking about next year when the Super Bowl is hosted at Levi Stadium.
We're looking at security, fan activations, wayfinding, how people experience the event.
He's in New Orleans on behalf of the Bay Area Host Committee, taking on the reins from New Orleans once the big game is over. Levi's will be the site of both Super Bowl 60 and multiple FIFA World Cup games in 2026.
The game itself is 3 hours, but the event is more like 3 or 4 days.
That means getting the city of San Jose and greater Bay Area ready for the festivities and highlighting the things that make the Bay Area unique.
A stone's throw from Nvidia, Meta, Apple.
Who fucking cares? What are the people going to show up at the Nvidia?
Right. Oh, these are cultural landmarks, Bruce.
People are getting around without having to own a car. These are the kinds of things we should be showing off. And I think we will be as we welcome the world to San Jose and the rest of the Bay Area next year.
Well, with about a year left to go until the Super Bowl comes to the Bay Area, specifically Silicon Valley, many business owners here in San Pedro Square in San Jose say they hope within this next year, they hope to see a whole lot more foot traffic.
We're starting to think of it a little bit of a, since the Super Bowl is this weekend, a little bit of a buzz, people talking about next year.
Bob, seen as the head chef at District at San Pedro Square, and says he would like to see more customers throughout this year before two of the largest sporting events in the world come to town.
Since the streets closed down, just more things going on, maybe bands, more sort of street festival type of thing.
Meantime at San Pedro Social, General Manager Javon Williams says the big games will be a huge boost to downtown that's still continuing to grow.
So people really come together in this area to watch sports. So I think it's a big communal thing for San Jose itself, is to get together and watch any sports.
Mahan also says bringing out more live music and outdoor events in 2025 will help prepare the South Bay for what's to come in 2026.
I'm really looking forward to next year. I'm hoping the Niners are involved next year so that way we get even more of a boost. But Super Bowl being in Levi's Stadium next year is going to be really big for this community for sure.
In San Jose, Jack Mulba, Cron 4 News.
No, it's going to suck.
It's going to be a lot of football fans just flooding spots where normally they're not. And not necessarily spending their tax dollars in San Jose or even in Santa Clara. They're going to be doing a lot of it in San Francisco. And then they'll go to the game in Santa Clara. And they might hang out in San Jose a little bit. But really, I mean, if the attraction is the NVIDIA and Meta campuses, which, by the way, aren't in San Jose, then that's not much of an attraction. We have to do better. We have so much that we can actually celebrate. It's just that the people who like put these things together and establish partnerships with the community to put together all this stuff, like they don't engage with the right folks. They don't engage with the people that are actually doing the fun shit out there in the community. They engage with Phil Maresca.
Yeah, they're gonna. Well, they're. What do you mean more bands at San Pedro Square? No, you don't want more bands there because you're just gonna tell them to turn it down. Like,
right? Yeah, and then they'll be playing out in that very nice little outdoor stage, and everyone will be like shouting over them, trying to have their little fucking conversations, not actually paying attention to the music or the bands or any of it, right? And what are we going to do? Like, oh, the World Cup's coming, great. Colombia is playing in the World Cup. Let's have a cumbia festival, right? Like San Pedro Square cumbia like dance competition.
God, I can't think of anything more like inadvertently offensive but also whack at the same time.
Right, just basic, but that's how we do things here in Ban Jose and Beige Jose, right? It's just very basic, and I'm tired of basic. I think we need to think bigger and broader, but unfortunately, the people that make the decisions, the people that have the money, the people that put things on, for the most part, are a bunch of just stiffs, and they don't, think to engage with people. What I wasn't able to show here, and what I guess I could get a link to, is an Insta-vid that Mayor Ed 209 posted. He was just marveling at some visual art projections that were happening in New Orleans on like iconic buildings, right? And he posited, why don't you tell me in the comments some great San Jose iconic buildings we could project art onto? And it's like, it's not that this is a bad idea. This is not that this would be a bad thing to do, right? Like the Bank of America Tower, whatever, City Hall, the Children's Discovery Museum, that'd be great. And we have done that kind of shit before. We do that shit all the time. It's more just the attitude of like, we could do this in San Jose, and this is something different, and this is, something new we can try, and it was my idea, right? And it's not your fucking idea.
Well, it's not like innovative either. It's so like not innovative that like protesters do it like with setups where they're able to run away from the cops at a moment's notice. The thing has been like, it's so ubiquitous that it's now portable. So like projecting some shit onto a building isn't that impressive.
Yeah, we had a local arts leader pass away recently, at a very younger age, and there were some local groups that did a projection on buildings downtown during the South First Fridays Art Walk shortly after he passed. And the mayor even like commented on it, I think, and and said something about it when they adjourned city council in the guy's honor. And it's like, okay, so you're aware of all that, and now you're posting this thing like it's somehow it's some innovative idea that you came up with, and it's like, no, you can't appropriate this shit and then in the very next breath just ignore us, right? Ignore the arts community. So, man, it's frustrating on so many levels.
They want a certain kind of like art and culture.
Yeah, sure,
but they want what they want is like they want like a version of art and culture that exists maybe in like very niche, high income communities in like Los Angeles and New York, right? They want very upscale, very classy. But the problem is San Jose, all that upscale, classy art that comes out of New York and LA, it comes from somewhere, and it doesn't come from the top. It comes from the bottom, friends. These people that end up like the art that ends up being classy and whatever, it came from somewhere grimy and gritty.
Yeah. Can I offer you an adjective? Curated. That's really what it comes down to, right? It's very curated. It's accessible for certain folks who have access, right? So yeah, well, we should be more thoughtful about how we're approaching these things. And maybe, just maybe, if we are more thoughtful in that way and we really truly engage our community and our diversity, perhaps not just the people, all these fools who are coming here for the Super Bowl or for conventions or the World Cup will, get to experience all this shit, but maybe, just maybe, the million people that actually live in San Jose and the South Bay might actually get out and fucking experience shit in their own neighborhoods or downtown or wherever they go.
I don't go to First Street. It's too spicy.
Yeah, right. There's homeless. Anyway, well, we'll move into winners and losers.
I don't even go to Campbell. There's loud music. We go to Los Gatos.
Campbell's such old news. It's really Los Gatos now. And then
Campbell's still Campbell and like downtown Sunnyvale are like the cool spots to hang out in the South Bay.
They really are.
San Jose,
they really are.
They've forced that to be the case, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, again, it's just like so much about San Jose, there is still so much untapped potential, but how many more decades are we going to say that? There's like
old news. 2 blocks in downtown San Jose, and then 2 blocks in downtown San Jose, that's Post Street. Post Street between basically First and Splash. Right?
Community district is what they call it officially.
And then
community.
And then obviously the Caravan. You got to go, but you go to the Caravan not because of something San Jose curated. The Caravan stands there like with its middle finger to what San Jose is trying to curate in a lot of ways.
The Caravan just is. The Caravan abides, and it is its own. It's a place. It's a vibe. It's just an attitude. It's everything all in one spot.
It's so crazy that it's like one of the most punk rock ass bands, or one of the most punk rock ass bars in the whole Bay Area, and there it is, right in downtown San Jose of all places.
Hell yeah! So proud to have played there multiple times. It's one of my favorite places to play because you are in the bar. Like it's not like you're on a stage, you're not on a stage. You're not even sequestered, in some corner. Like you are in the bar. You're right up on the bar. You can actually order a drink, have it sitting on the bar, and drink it while you're playing. So that's my friend. That is punk rock. And all right, what?
So
sorry, go ahead.
We're gonna move on to winners and losers here.
Yes,
and we're gonna stay in San Jose. If maybe San Jose to close, there's a $60 million budget shortfall. We were just talking about a whole sector that could be good for the economy of San Jose that's been neglected. Maybe not even neglected. Maybe refused and pushed down for 20 years.
In all sorts of ways, yes. All these things: refused, neglected, ignored,
suppressed.
So we're going to find out about some fancy budget math. Mayor Ed 209, while he was, in New Orleans, but now back at City Hall, is re-encountering a massive budget shortfall we have for this year, which, by the way, he kind of envisions created in his own messaging. I don't know that it's necessarily the case. And now he's got some fancy math to get rid of 2/3 of the deficit with some, appropriations of funds in his own vision. So we're going to learn more about his fancy math and how it doesn't make much sense right here.
KTV's Jesse Gary live for us tonight outside City Hall with that story. Jesse?
Claudine, good evening to you. And all 3 major cities in the Bay Area are struggling with budget gaps. That's not necessarily new, but here in San Jose, Mayor Matt Mahan believes the severity of the shortfall in this city can be reduced by reallocating Measure E dollars.
Rather than having Groundhog Day every year, we need to simply embrace reality.
San Jose Mayor Matt Mahan says that reality, the city does not have enough money to meet its projected obligations for fiscal year 2025-2026. Sluggish sales tax receipts, which are down about 11%, coupled with inflation, are cited as reasons.
A lot of people moving, a lot of changes, a lot of expenses, inflation. They are spending more than they have budgeted.
The mayor believes the $60 million shortfall can be cut by 2/3 by changing the use of Measure E funds. Enacted in 2020, the tax on the transfer of properties above $2 million funds permanent affordable housing construction and support services for interim housing for the city's 6,300 unhoused residents. Mahan seeks a council vote to earmark the funds for interim housing.
It's a policy decision. If we make permanent the Measure E policy decision we made last year, we do not have 2/3 of the projected deficit. That's a simple vote of the council.
Advocates for the unhoused are split on the plan, with some saying more spending on immediate needs will save more lives, while others fear not staying focused on long-term permanent housing will leave a group of people without a place to go.
I don't agree with Mayor Mahan on a lot of things, but this one I do. Letting them stay out there in the fields and the streets is inhumane. We have a humanitarian crisis. We have to act accordingly.
For those working families, for the veterans, for the aging seniors, affordable housing really is the only solution. And we can't cut off one just to provide the other, because we know at the end of the day, people do need a place to call home.
If the change is voted on and approved, the city will still have a budget shortfall of $20 million. The mayor says he hopes to close that by focusing on greater operational efficiencies and not having layoffs. Experts say somehow the budget will have to be cut. We're live outside San Jose City Hall this evening. Jesse Gary, KTVU, Fox 2 News. Claudine, back up to you in Oakland.
You should just get some billionaire asshole to go in there and pretend to make cuts.
Imagine that, right? Maybe like a retired tech bro, or scion of the Levi Strauss fortune. But we'll find out about that later. Yeah, this is just a manufactured crisis, and then solved by a manufactured political solution, that both of which benefit the mayor, right? He is responsible primarily for ballooning the deficit in terms of definitions, in terms of what he applies to the city budget and what imperatives he envisions we have, particularly with regards to cleaning up creeks and doing work around, disencamping the homeless individuals in our community, because of, mandates coming down from the state or from water agencies and other areas. He's able to conflate this deficit problem in the city to being larger than it really is, and then come around in the next breath and offer a solution which is completely expedient towards his political means, which is reappropriating dollars that the voters approved for permanent affordable housing to these immediate solutions that will help us clean up the creeks and do all these things to avoid all these penalties and fines that he's lumping into our deficit. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Right. So it's really just a solution in search of a problem in search of a solution, and it's all to benefit his common sense agenda. And it's yet to be seen if it will work. To be fair, after all I've said about this situation, I do sincerely want something to work. We need something to work sooner than later. We need to get folks housed and off of our streets and into better situations, and prevent people from becoming homeless as well. We need to do all these things, and it's good to see somebody taking initiative to try to do something, whether or not I agree with it or think it's going to work. At least someone's trying something.
Is he doing a thing where he's paying to manufacture the can and then paying someone to kick the can?
Correct. That's pretty much what it is, right? That's a really great analogy. He's actually putting the can in front of the folks. Like, he's throwing the can out of the 18th floor of City Hall down to his folks, and they're letting them kick it around the City Hall plaza and just laughing all the way to the bank. all the way to his next race, which will be for governor probably once Gavin runs for president. So it's just the musical chairs of politics coming very soon to a theater near you. He's already gearing up for it. It's pretty disgusting, but that's exactly what's happening. You are right.
Well, up next, we're going to move up to where I'm at in Oakland, where a lot of city employees were laid off, and they're too happy about it. If you could imagine that.
No, in San Jose, you might see this as well soon, but for now, these are actual jobs, actual people getting relieved of their duties. And yeah, not good.
New fallout tonight over Oakland's budget. It's a new round of layoffs for city employees, and the unions are calling this round of layoffs chaotic and unlawful. NBC Bay Area's Valina Jones has more on the outrage from city workers who are now demanding those layoff notices be rescinded.
Save our services! Save our services! Dozens of the nearly 100 city workers that have received layoff notices gathered in front of City Hall today. They're not only calling for their jobs back, but claim the way the city rolled out the layoff notices breaks the law. They also note those layoffs could have a major impact on critical employees like monitors tracking illegal dumping, neighborhood watch, and crime analysts.
Follow the law, protect our public services. And as an addendum, don't mess with city workers. Be straight up. We're partners. We're teammates.
Two unions have jointly filed a charge with the California Public Employment Relations Board.
They must eliminate their temporary employees, the temp agency employees, the limited duration employees before they can ever touch a civil servant.
Jennifer Foster is one of the nearly 20 OPD civilian employees cut. She says those cuts include police oversight and accountability units, along with those who process crime scenes and field staff.
I am in a self-funded revenue generating position. I pay for myself and that of my team members, and to cut our program would be a huge disservice to the community.
Unions are in close contracts, which limits the city's negotiating powers, but the city administration has publicly offered to meet with unions to discuss alternative reductions. But unions claim those meetings were either canceled or went unscheduled until this week, after layoff notices were already issued.
This problem wasn't created by city workers, and it can't be solved by city workers. We're willing to sit down, the unions are willing to sit down with the city and try to come up with solutions.
Meanwhile, Councilmember Janani Ramachandran, who chairs the city's finance committee, says she plans to announce a proposal this week that could prevent fire stations from seeing deeper cuts. The fire department has already had 3 stations shuttered.
I've been working very hard with a couple of my colleagues to identify funding sources to prevent the closure of 4 additional fire stations, which is currently slated given our budget crisis.
We reached out to the city for comment. They did not specifically respond to the employees' claims and instead referred us to a January 30th letter sent out to staff. In that letter, the city administrator explains eliminations were made based on input from department heads and human resources. The letter also states the administration is exploring additional measures to stabilize the budget. In Oakland, Valina Jones, NBC Bay Area News.
So I was like of two minds. That one lady with the pink hair, she's like, my position generates money for the city. I'm like, well, that seems dumb to cut it. But then I'm also thinking like, that's not, the government isn't really there to turn a profit.
No, not at all. But they do engage in some and really embrace what's called cost recovery, right? So, or fee recovery. And that's the idea that you can, it would be that your department or your unit or your job even is sort of a zero sum kind of game, right? You bring in as much in fees as they pay you to do the job. Not so much that they're making a profit, but in some cases, right? Like some revenue streams probably do turn a profit, but those also invariably support something else, right? There are very few things in city government where it's strictly like a fee for service and the city's turning a profit. There's usually some shortfall in another place, not shortfall, just another space where it's more out than in, right? And so it balances out. But yeah, the majority of revenue for cities and local governments is from sales tax, property tax, these kinds of things, not from fees. But in order to save those funds and be able to use those funds for all the good things that they're supposed to be doing, they try to recoup as many, as much as possible. Same thing with Caltrain or BART or our public transit system. Like Caltrain actually does recover most of its cost through fees, whereas BART lags horribly behind and therefore requires subsidies from the government to continue operating.
Right. Well, it looks like it's not just the city workers who are going to have some problems here. It looks like some charities aren't going to be too happy here either.
Yeah, it starts with these guys actually, and then it goes to the city workers. So I'm surprised. Like if they're already doing layoffs, they're getting down to the bone in Oakland. But yeah, it usually starts with the grants to nonprofit organizations, and almost invariably when there's a budget deficit, they're the ones that get demonized anyway, right? Because they're just running away with the public dollars and doing awful things with it, like I don't know, feeding the homeless. So anyway, we're going to learn more from KPIX.
As the city of Oakland faces a nearly $130 million deficit, and that's expected to grow to an additional $280 million over the next 2 years. In another attempt to balance the budget, the city is cutting $2.6 million in funding for 13 community organizations that provide housing, health, and other social services. Amanda Harry spoke with a city council member and one of the impacted organizations, Meals on Wheels, about that potential impact.
Yes, sir. Hi, John. I'm Charlie with Meals on Wheels. How are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
Doing very well.
Executive Director of Meals on Wheels, Charlie Dieterlein, spends a lot of time working in the office, but today he's out in the community delivering meals.
The stories that we're hearing from our drivers, from our volunteers, from our staff that speak to our clients on the phone every day, there's just so much uncertainty.
At the end of January, the Oakland City Administrator informed City Council and the Mayor that his office was giving contractors 30 days notice that their contracts will be terminated. It's in an effort to balance their budget by cutting $2.6 million in funding. 13 community nonprofit organizations will be impacted, including SOS Meals on Wheels of Alameda County. Dieterlein is hearing from their concerned clients.
What I read and see on the TV, what's going on right now, people like me are scared to death.
88-year-old John Hutchinson is a homebound senior. He says he relies on Meals on Wheels for not only food, but social interaction. He looks forward to his deliveries each week.
So he stands down there, talks to the screen, gives me the food, and I get a chance to see the dog and talk to him.
For sure.
That's the only contact I have with people,
Yeah.
It's a blessing.
Dieterlein took the opportunity to be honest, but still ease Hutchinson's concerns.
We might have some struggles. We're going to need a lot more support.
Excellent.
But we're not going anywhere.
Some other organizations that will be impacted are Oakland Parks and Recs Foundation, Downtown Oakland Association, and Roots Community Health.
Have a great day today. Take care.
Some city council members say they had no notice or conversations about the decision.
I was shocked and severely disappointed.
District 4 City Council member Janani Ramachandran said,
we've seen her. Is she Oakland's Aaron Peskin?
Possibly. Although I missed an opportunity. Aaron Peskin found a camera this week, even after he was off the board of supervisors, and I couldn't get the clip. I tried.
Administrators shouldn't have cut grants that were already in progress.
We're exploring our options to see if any of these can be reversed, but the city administrator does have a lot of authority to unilaterally do these actions.
I think it was the same day, too. She was wearing the same outfit, I think.
Decisions made and power granted to him by council.
Dieterlein says they still have funding from the city for transportation of their meals, but that's it.
Our administrative team, the purchasing of the food, the making of the meals, the packaging that the meals go into, none of that has any funding support from the city of Oakland anymore if this cut funding doesn't come back.
So when he's not visiting with and delivering food to seniors,
I'm Charlie.
He's fighting to figure out how to keep the organization afloat through grants, volunteers, and donations.
Some things might change, but we're not going anywhere.
Nourishing bodies and souls, one delivery at a time.
Other nonprofits include Fam First Foundation, the Downtown Oakland Association, Friends of Peralta Hacienda Park, and the Roots Community Health. A rally against the cuts are planned for tomorrow.
Well,
yeah. It's a double whammy for all these organizations, or triple whammy, really. If you got the Trump administration, the feds threatening, freezes of all public grants and dollars. in addition to canceling BIPOC communities and anyone who's doing like DEI work. And then now you've got deficits at the local level, cutting off support from cities and counties and even the state. So just the government column in any nonprofit's books is just dropping to zero really quickly. And as someone who's had to do those books and had to run nonprofits, it's not a very pleasant place to be in. You're relying more on your individual donors, on philanthropy. And when everyone's getting shit on by the government, everyone's going to philanthropy. So philanthropy has less money, right, to go around. And they're already pretty restrictive about it anyway. And they've got their own little, pet projects. So it's just going to be a real difficult place for Meals on Wheels and Second Harvest and any other organizations that do this kind of work or do any kind of community-based work, whether they're arts-oriented or food or health or justice-oriented. It's not going to be a good scene, unfortunately.
Well, and the other thing, with inflation and people's wages being stagnant too, you also some of these places rely on like small dollar donations, and the people that are making those small dollar donations also either feel squeezed or maybe not as sure about the future and might be less inclined to give small dollar donations when they might have otherwise done so. So it's like a quadruple whammy.
Yeah, they're being asked by more people. They're being spread around more. They're spreading their dollars around more, right? Everyone's asking now. And they feel more of a need to give, but they spread, they don't have as much to make the rounds. So it's not a good situation. And the sad thing is that we talked about asshat earlier, but Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos, although loving his ex-wife, they could cut a check today and solve this problem, right? Like one check. Imagine that.
We could, if the government would just tax them according to their disgusting amount of fucking wealth.
That'd be great, but it wouldn't be it'd be really efficient too, honestly.
Wouldn't be very patriotic though, I suppose.
Maybe not, but government. If we're right about government efficiency, taxing just 5 people sounds a lot more efficient than taxing 360 million. Right? Am I right? All right. Well, anyway.
Yeah, but those 360 million people ain't lawyered up.
Speaking of lawyered up, our billionaire Ed 210, mayor of San Francisco, has recently issued and signed a declaration of emergency around the fentanyl crisis in his city and county. And now he's appointing a brand new public health director to take on this role. And we're going to hear just the introduction. We don't need to watch this whole clip; it's very long. Just Mary Louie's introduction and a little anecdote that he shares about the whys and the wherefores of why he's so excited about this. From KTVU, Fox.
My name is Kunal Modi. I'm Mayor Lurie's Chief of Health, Homelessness, and Family Services. Thank you for joining us here today for this very exciting moment for our city. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce Mayor Lurie.
So that he can introduce another person.
Yes.
I mean, I'm throwing a party. Hey, I'm throwing a party, and I got a DJ that's opening up for a DJ that's opening up for me, but it's not really the same thing, I don't think.
No, but I do like how he helped the guy find his mark, right? That's very, very, very well done by the mayor there.
For being here, supervisors, thank you for being here. I appreciate it.
How much do you think those glasses cost?
Those fancy glasses.
So I'm not going to welcome him. Our board president, Raphael Mandelman.
A few hundred? Thousand? 1,200?
If he was here, I would welcome him. Supervisor Melgar, Supervisor Chan, Supervisor Chen, Supervisor Jackie Fielder, Supervisor Matt Dorff.
Peskin.
Fucking romper room.
Right. He needs former Supervisor Peskin. My mom. Aunt Bessie.
1 month.
Mama Cass.
Thank you all for being here. This is a really, really important day for San Francisco. About a month ago, I was walking down 6th Street when police officers and firefighters arrived to respond to a corner with heavy drug use. One man named Terry had been using fentanyl when they arrived. The officers instructed Terry and the other men to gather their belongings, and they offered a range of services. It seemed likely in that moment that Terry might enter a treatment program. And when a reporter who was following me asked if he would, you know what he said? God willing. I see interactions like that almost on a daily basis. I saw it with Supervisor Fielder in the Mission last week. And they make me hopeful that we can tackle the drug crisis on our streets. On 6th Street and across the Tenderloin, in Soma, in the Mission, our neighbors need help. And every day officers and outreach workers offer that help. But what happens when someone says yes? For decades, that person has been back out on the street using drugs a week, a month, a year later. It is a new day in San Francisco. We are going to be a national leader in public health, in behavioral health treatment, addiction recovery, and healthcare access. It's going to take creativity, compassion, and collaboration.
Ooh,
and
the three C's.
Exactly what Dan Tsai brings to the table, and I am proud to appoint him as the new director of the Department of Public Health.
We can stop it now.
Fucking anecdote.
Yeah, so Dan Tsai is a longtime public health professional, been doing this for a while, but I'll guarantee you this much, neither he nor Mayor Lurie have ever tried drugs. Or at least anything that's even remotely close to the addiction and the drug that they're trying to solve for.
These people all did a little Charlie when they were in their 20s. These people all
probably, yeah, a little bit. Maybe they smoked a doob, back in college.
Might even tried some overpriced, not very strong ecstasy that somebody sold them at one point in the 90s.
Oh, I could totally see Daniel Lurie like vibing out to Daft Punk with him, or New Order
in the VIP
earlier.
section, of course.
Yeah, he's more of a New Order era guy, but yeah, totally sweating his balls off. Yeah, so just tech bro and health tech bro coming to solve a problem that's very human and very much misunderstood, and really only understood by people who've lived it and have a lived experience. So I wish them well. Again, I don't want to see people suffer, but at the same time, I don't have a whole lot of faith that people without lived experience can help solve a problem that is entirely about the experience and is completely tied up in that. It's not about numbers. It's not about metrics. It's not about key performance indicators. It really is about human psyche and condition, and that you can't put that in numbers a lot most of the time. So, moving right along, since there are no winners and there are no losers, there's a whole lot of.
This one's not great. This one's not great for like a variety of reasons, actually.
Correct. It's losing all over the place. But as we covered on Downballot previously, there were some malfeasance at a women's prison here in the Bay Area.
Malfeasance is an interesting way to talk about what happened at the Federal Women's Correctional Facility in Dublin.
Yes, there were some women who got downright abused and harassed and assaulted and muzzled and all sorts of horrible shit, to the point where the feds shut down the prison and have even considered releasing some of these women because of all the shit that went down and happened to them. So now you have this beautiful federal criminal encampment facility. What do you think that the Trump administration might do with it, Producer Dave?
ICE. They're going to use it. They're going to use a concentration camp.
Correct. That seems to be one of the ideas that's being floated. So we'll find out more in this quick hit from ABC7.
Our media partner, the East Bay Times, is reporting that the now defunct Dublin women's prison could be...
good on them for at least mentioning the East Bay Times and not just stealing the fucking story from them like the news almost always does.
Well, they're partners, Producer Dave. They're partners.
Purposed by the Trump administration as a migrant detention center. ICE agents have been conducting an assessment at the facility yesterday and today, according to a federal prison leader. He says a structural assessment of the prison was carried out over the summer and was later turned over to ICE. 2 months ago, the Federal Bureau of Prisons announced plans to close the compound after years of sexual abuse led to scores of lawsuits.
We have found that it is structurally sound for doing bad shit to people. So therefore, ICE should just take it and separate families and do whatever they do there. Good Lord.
I mean, I don't believe in a place being haunted, but if any place is fucking haunted, that place is haunted.
Right? My goodness. Bad juju all over it.
Yeah, fucking bad, even just bad vibes.
Yeah, and just it lets it double down on the bad vibes too, right? Can't imagine what would happen if this came to fruition. Now, again, I'm of the opinion that it's exactly what it's designed to do. It's a scare. It's an entire scare. I won't say tactic. It's a scare policy, right? There's no physical or realistic or efficient way, that this administration can deport like the 12 million, whatever, 15 million going on folks who are here without documentation. There's just no way. The economy would collapse, not just from them not working in the economy anymore, but in contributing to it, but also the sheer people power it would take to do that, right? Because you can't do it with AI, you can't do it with drones. You need people to do it. So it's a pipe dream in the first place. It is a big scare tactic, though, and I could totally see them using this kind of space as a visual metaphor, a visual representation of some sort. So I just wish it wasn't in our backyard here.
Yeah, now we got another one. This is interesting. This one's interesting because up in Napa, we were talking about camping. I guess now in Napa, they don't want rich people camping fucking either, I guess.
Yeah, I suppose this should have been tied a little more to the story we had earlier. But yeah, this is a little bit more about folks getting away, as we talked about, who have the means, right, and just getting their sense of the outdoors. So, but apparently, folks in the even richer folks in Napa who can afford to live in Napa and not just camp there are getting pissed.
In the North Bay, a controversial glamping proposal is getting strong pushback from residents in Napa. We're talking about this area shaded in orange, as you see, near the Silverado Trail and Hagen Road. Today, ABC 7 News reporter Luz Pena went to the area to see the site and speak to those impacted.
Imagine this, a 12.5-acre resort with up to 100 high-end camping trailers, tents, a pool, access to trails, and 5 permanent buildings. That's the vision behind the Grange Campground in Napa. Some may see it as a dream, but for residents in this area, this proposal has turned into a nightmare.
It's the wrong project in the wrong location.
Residents along Napa's Silverado Trail have collected over 1,000 signatures for a petition against this project, raised over $16,000 to fight it, and build a website to voice their concerns.
2 trees.
Judy Buffington's property is right next to the land in question. Her photos show a history of floodings.
Anytime we have a really rainy season, it floods, and that means that all of the mobile units that they have to be moved out.
The campground is also proposing campers have access to fire pits, a concern for many who live in this fire-prone area.
I don't understand how they can actually propose fire pits in an area like that. The mitigation that they're proposing for the 100 fire pits that they are proposing is everybody will have a fire extinguisher.
The city of Napa confirmed campers will only be allowed to burn firewood in portable outdoor fireplaces, which they say comply with city code.
And traffic is one of the key concerns residents have here, and the potential for a left turn lane. Many telling us they have witnessed accidents already on this road, and they say it could be worse.
One of the busiest and most dangerous roads here in Napa County. I worked on an ambulance for 10 years.
Last year, the Napa Planning Commission recommended this project for approval. In a statement, the city of Napa said in part, the applicant's proposed project has been reviewed in accordance with the California Environmental Quality Act and all applicable regulatory requirements. On Tuesday, Napa residents are planning to rally against this project at the Napa City.
All 4 of them.
To prevent it from moving forward.
It's going to end up in litigation unless they can somehow prove that this is not dangerous.
In Napa, Luz Pena, ABC 7 News.
Fucking, I mean, it kind of sucks, like, but it's like whatever.
All the shit that they mentioned is kind of their problem, right? Like, oh, if it floods and they got to move the trailers around, then that's a them problem. That's a resort problem. It's not a you problem. What do you give a shit if their trailers like flood and get washed away, right? It's not your trailer. It's not your business. You're just sort of standing there on the other side of the gate watching, and like they put a guy in his front yard. Oh, get off my lawn, right? Like. Do you have any? What do you propose to go there? Or what do you own the land? Is it your no. Like, it's you're 4 white people who have an issue, and let these folks do what they want. And if they find out that it's not working out, then they'll shut their thing down and you can go back to your life. But it's not going to change a whole lot. Like, there's a whole lot more problem with people not problem, but there's a whole lot more people coming to Napa for things other than glamping, right? Like, if you're worried about influx of people and whatnot, you've got other problems.
Check out the wineries.
Right. They started, these things started like ages ago. Like it's wine country, right? Like, it's a tourist, you live in a tourist attraction. I'm sorry. And then furthermore, the fire pits, like, holy shit. Oh, we need to get permitted fire pits. Give me a break. We just talked about camping earlier in state parks, right? You think I had to have a license or a permit to set up a fire in the middle of a state park in a forest? No. You just light the fucking fire. And there's no rules. No, not everyone has a fire extinguisher even, right? Like, I didn't have one in my car. If my fire got out of hand, I'd have to like use the water bottles, like the little 16-ounce water bottles we brought to like douse it, right? I don't understand that. And we're conscientious campers, right? I've seen people put up bonfires in the middle of a state park. It's like, you don't need a permit or a special fire pit. Just common sense again. Common sense. People never been camping before.
Yeah, I mean,
anyway,
it kind of sucks because like it'd be better if they just made it like you were talking about, like a campground, like that people could access. That wasn't like this thing where like everybody's got like a trailer and shit. That'd be like way cooler. But the people would be even more mad about that because then fucking poor people would be there.
Right. And these people come into this glamping site, they're not going to be setting off bonfires either. They're going to have their one like, Duraflame log and do like a s'more and then go to bed at like 9:00, right? It's not a thing. It's as much ado about nothing as is so much on local news, but we had to have a much ado about nothing story on Winners and Losers. But this is much ado about something.
Oh, I love get your shit together stories that are about
shit. Especially really expensive places to take a shit. Although this one looks a little more like San Jose's variety, so we'll see what happened. The city of Berkeley cut the ribbon on a new toilet. Congratulations, toilet. And we're going to hear more about it from ABC7.
The city of Berkeley is celebrating the grand opening of a new public restroom today. The ribbon cutting happened just a short time ago. The restroom is in a high traffic at the corner of Telegraph Avenue and Channing Way. It's designed to be accessible to all users. Berkeley's Public Works Department says the restroom is a part of the city's efforts to improve sanitation in outdoor spaces. And you can see it's beautifully decorated, too.
Public art. I really like this.
Stuff has gone so fucking haywire that people are like, don't get me wrong, like there needs to be a place to take a shit if you're in like a city, right? Like,
yeah,
but
totally.
we should just like that should just be like a thing that the city, like, we shouldn't even know that happened and be like, oh shit, there's a fucking public toilet here, awesome, right?
Yeah, it's gotten completely off the rails if we have to celebrate and actually have ribbon cuttings for a new public toilet. You're absolutely right. This is utilitarianism at its best. Like, put places for people to do their shit, in private, in public. Not that hard, right? Dignified places for people to shit. It shouldn't be something we celebrate. It's one of those things, right? Like, I hope that one day we will not have to celebrate the Year of the Woman because women will be treated just like everyone else, right? But it's true, we have to, right? And that's the sad thing. So it's sad that we have to celebrate that you could take a comfortable shit downtown when you can't get home and you can't get, and the bar won't let you use their bathroom unless you buy a $15 mocktail.
Instead of the Pink Floyd song "Comfortably Numb," it's a song about a comfortable dump.
Right. There is no pain. You are receding, producer Dave. The distant ship smoke in my colon.
All right. Well, we got, and another thing. Thank you for that one. A couple weeks ago, you had a depressing ass story on and another thing, and I appreciate the fact that this is probably not a depressing story.
So, original docket had the ice story here.
Oh no!
So I took pity on you. So this is about art. We talked about arts. This is a guy who does art with trash.
Fuck yeah!
Enjoy.
Well, some artists turn paint into masterpieces. Others work with a different palette. Trash. Our Itai Ha met up with a local trash artist, turning what others toss out into works that are anything but garbage.
When people talk trash about Austin Zombres' art, he doesn't get offended, because technically, they're not wrong.
Looks like it has a little bit too much moisture in the bottom.
Zombres is what's known as a trash artist.
Oh shit, that's Cap Street.
Scours San Francisco's.
You know, he could have fucking found himself a friend, too.
Walks, dumpsters, and stores.
With that hair, for sure. Look at him.
The rest of us throw away.
Do you have any, like maybe extra cigarette cartons?
His journey into the world of garbage began during a tough time, when buying traditional art supplies was out of reach.
Oh, thank you, man.
What started as a necessity soon became a passion and a mission.
Everything here would have or will be thrown away.
His studio is equal parts art gallery and recycling center, where cartons and boxes get a second chance at life.
No paint or pen used is one of my major rules.
His hyper-detailed collages reimagine familiar objects, like sneakers, burgers, and today, bananas. Each piece takes between 30 and 300 hours to complete, and can sell for as much as $4,000.
One time I cut out 1,500 sesame seeds by hand, and the repetitiveness gave me some cramps.
It's that obsessive attention to detail that caught the art world's eye, leading to an invitation from the San Francisco Museum of Modern Art to showcase his technique in a live workshop.
It's about looking at things differently.
Krista Oropeza, owner of Incline Gallery, says trash or sustainable art is gaining traction because of the message it carries. But even he admits that at times it could be confusing.
No, that's not art here.
No, this is not.
This is actual.
This is for picking up.
Who says?
Right?
For Zombres, it's about turning the unwanted into the unexpected.
It's just something out of the box.
No pun intended.
Yeah.
Proving that trash really can become treasure. As for anyone who says otherwise, well, that's just rubbish.
Oh.
Oh man, the puns. Sorry.
Oh, what I was hoping for, I was hoping that the fucking the anchors were going to get to vamp a little bit after that, because that was one of them stories where they would get just a fucking 45 seconds afterward to just say dumb things.
I used to smoke American Spirits in college. Back when we smoked cigarettes. You remember when we smoked cigarettes? Yes, I remember. So yeah, I had to end the show on a pun since we started and led off with so many egg puns. So one little trash pun couldn't hurt anybody. This dude is obviously not the only person that makes his artistic living through recycled or discarded items. It's a time-honored tradition in the arts world. Jasper Johns, Jackson Pollock, you name it, have used discarded.
The
Pablo
logo.
Picasso.
This is weird. The logo for the first
Andy Warhol.
actual crew where we were throwing raves was we made it by stealing a giant stop sign.
I won't ask you to say any more, but you get our snowdrift, folks. Like this is nothing new. Good on Austin though for keeping this tradition alive. And damn, 30 hours on one piece. That's I guess that's
300.
Yeah, up to 300. That's okay. That's worth like $4,000 for sure. 300 hours of work. So yeah, pay your local artists. Make sure that you're not just treating them like like volunteers or your little lap dogs or your little toys. They are working people and they deserve your respect for the work that they do. Although I did want to point out that as he's scouring for trash, he comes across like a pile of trash that's just sitting there, like boxes, old Modelo boxes, right on the sidewalk. He's like, that has a little too much water on the bottom, and just moves on. Like, could pick up the trash and like throw it out or something, right? Or put it somewhere.
Put it in a recycling receptacle.
Right, leaves the trash. Of course, granted, they probably don't have enough recycling receptacles out in public, so they'll probably have to pay like $900,000 to build one in his neighborhood on Cap Street. So, but yeah, leaves the trash that he doesn't want, but picks up the trash that he needs, or goes to the store that's already throwing out their trash and takes their trash. So maybe could do more on the environmental side of things and not so much just the repurposing side of things. Anyway.
But you don't want your studio smelling like fucking mildew and Modelo.
No, I absolutely not. Especially if he's keeping stuff around, that would be for a very specific project too. I'm sure that real thick cardboard, water damaged. in multiple colors. He also, I mean, he probably needs, stuff that's like the Modelo box is kind of like a gradient, right? Like you probably need more solid colors and things that are really popping, right? High popping colors for your work if you're going to cut things out and make them into something else, right? So the American Spirit box becoming a banana, that makes sense. I don't know what you'd make out of the Modelo box, to be honest with you.
You should go to the cannabis shop too, because that shit's all brightly colored like they're trying to sell it to kids, which is crazy because you have a product there that the adults are going to buy like fucking because it's cannabis. It's pretty much already sold. I don't know why they do that shit.
It's candy, it's like all the flavors they have now: blackberry gelato, strawberry milk tea, lemon haze.
All right,
I like the fruity ones.
That's the show. Do you want to read the show out?
Hey, brother, I'm always down to do that. And thank you, as always, Producer Dave, for manning the dials, or staffing the dials, or womaning the dials, or whatever you do with the dials. You can they them too.
Crewing them.
Crewing, there you go, crewing the dials. We try to be as inclusive as possible here on Downballot, except when we're not. And we try to do this show every Tuesday at 7:30 Pacific, except when we don't. And I believe next week is the week when we don't this month. So please enjoy a week off from Downballot. But stay tuned tonight, because Producer Dave has public comment coming on during the red light portion of the show while I go out and try to put the bad baby to bed. I don't know which of us has a better job this evening, but I'm thinking it's him. Anyway, happy anniversary to the good wife, 8 years strong. Hope everyone gets vaccinated. Make sure you wear a mask if you're out there in the public area. And you can wear pants, but it's totally optional. We're going to leave you with Audible Smoke as normal. Coming to you live from Wekma Ohlone Land in San Jose. We hope you have a great week. Peace out.
Time to get the party started. Pick up my phone just to check and see who's calling. Dress up real nice for the ladies at the bar, and I'm driving in my car just to get to where they are. Here at the local scene is where I plant my feet. It's where I smoke my cigarette and I hold my drink. I look at all my friends, they're all blazing greens. Here at the front of the stage, waiting for MTV. Where are those guys who's standing next to me with a pipe in his hand, ready to blaze for me? About 5 minutes later, we're all singing Queen. I get the fuck up on stage and rock the scene, yeah. We do what we want, and what we want is to jam. So sit back and enjoy the band. We do what we want to do, and what we want is to jam. So sit back and enjoy the band. Enjoy that band. I turn and head back to the bar for a refill, man, because you know where we are. We're headed out to the car to smoke another one and another one. Now just when the magic starts kicking in, I hear relapse playing, you know it's time to head in. Alright everybody, now it's time to grab a new drink. Spark it if you got it and then pass it to me, yeah. We do what we want, and what we want is to jam. So sit back and enjoy the band. We do what we want to do, and what we want is to jam. So sit back and enjoy the band. Enjoy that band. Last up on the bill for the show tonight is Down and Dirty in 5, so we're headed outside to spark up another joint. Now who's got my lighter? Stoner E, of course, shouldn't you be inside? I'm all up in this bitch, being who I gotta be. I'm fucked up like the U.S. economy. The truth is that I don't think logically. Stoner E take you on a psychedelic odyssey. Now inside motherfuckers is rocking me, and outside shit we smoke a lot of broccoli. Rocky the roller, yo, that sexy girl be jocking me. Ain't too drunk to fuck, but I'll probably do it sloppily. We do what we want to do, and what we want is to jam. So sit back and enjoy the band. Enjoy the band, enjoy the band. We do what we want to do, and what we want is to jam. So sit back and enjoy the band. Molly say that he like jamming, and he hope he like jamming too. Well, I gotta say